Hello and welcome to Simply South. I'm Harish Upadhyaya. This is the show that gets you the flavor of South India. Our top story this week comes from Karnataka. Even as there was a major controversy over Chief Minister's spending on charter flights and chopper, the government has now gone ahead with a proposal to increase the salary of MLAs, ministers, Chief Minister and the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. This has triggered a huge controversy with many asking if this is the priority of the government, especially when the salaries were revised just in 2022. The quantum of it, more than 50% hike in most of these posts, and not just salary but also in various other allowances including rental allowance. So is the government justified in going for a salary hike now, and also should there be an independent mechanism to decide the quantum of hike? We'll debate all that, but let's take a look at what has transpired.
Nobody demanded, no MLAs from BJP or JDS have demanded increase in the salaries and pensions. State government has voluntarily taken this matter. And this is not the timing when entire state is in a great distress.
Justification is their expenditures are also going up along with other people. The common man is also suffering, and MLAs are also suffering. So that is why, based on that, I think the recommendations have come.
To debate this further, we have an eminent panel joining us today. We have Mr. M.G. Sudhindra, the spokesperson of the Congress Party. We have Mr. Prashant, the spokesperson of the BJP. And we have senior journalist, Mr. Ramkrishna Upadhyaya, joining us on the show today. Mr. G.S. Prashant, I'll come to you straight away. Look at the kind of headlines that has gone out from Karnataka this week. The Chief Minister spends, first year he spends around 12 crore rupees, second year he spends around 19 crore rupees on his choppers and special flights. Then now there is a proposal to increase the salary of MLAs, ministers and others. What is the priority of this government, sir?
See, these are completely misplaced priorities, because even when Siddaramaiah government took charge, if you remember, they went to the center to ask for funds, and they went in a luxurious private jet and came back, Siddaramaiah and his minister Zamir. So therefore, it is always in the DNA of Congress to mock the poor when the state is in a poor financial crisis, to mock the poor, saying that, look, you will not get what is due, we will increase, the price rise is for applicable for poor people, but we will spend on private jets. In fact, the reports also showed that Siddaramaiah took a private jet to Mysore many times, where it costing about 10 lakhs a trip, wherein after the national highway between Bengaluru and Mysore expressway between Bengaluru and Mysore, the travel time is less than 2 hours. And despite that, Siddaramaiah wants to take a private jet. It only indicates that the priorities are misplaced. They have no caution to spend government money, more so when the state is reeling in financial crisis, because for the last 2 consecutive years, the state, he himself has given budgets which have revenue deficit.
But Prashant, the question is, do the MLAs and ministers need us?
24-25 it was 27,000 crores. What does it mean? You don't have money to pay salaries. You want money to go for take private jets. This is atrocious. This is waste of public money, taxpayers' money.
Okay, Mr. M.G. Sudhindra, coming back to the story of salary hike. Look at what has happened in the last year for common man. Milk prices have gone up. Electricity prices will go from the 1st of April. We've also seen a hike in property registration charges. We've also seen a metro fare hike, more than 50%. So as far as the citizen is concerned, the money is outgoing, he's spending more. But the MLAs seem to be making more now, 50% salary hike. How does the government justify this, sir?
First, let me tell you, price hike of commodities and the salary hike are two totally different things. Let us not compare both. Let us not say there is a price hike happening for the common man and the MLAs or the ministers giving themselves a hike. No, that is not the kind of discussion. That is not the kind of line narrative we can take, because every price hike that has happened has a separate reason,
sir,
and this is
totally different. Look at it that way, sir.
Just a minute, I'll come to that. One, I could not hear to what my friend Prashant said because he was not audible. But let me tell you,
Okay.
this hike was first recommended by the BAC. I mean, which has members from all parties, and every unison has agreed to this proposal, which the government has agreed. Maybe government has tinkered here a little
Not
bit here
able to
and there
hear.
with the percentage, but in union, entire all parties across parties across MLAs, they have agreed to this proposal, and that is why this proposal is now on the verge of becoming a law. So let us not say that this is government decision or cry shed crocodile tears over only the Congress trying to push this agenda or something like that. Number one. Secondly, see, you also have to understand that the price hike what happened to our MLAs was about 3 years back. And when you do a benchmarking with other states, we are still very low. There are about 17 states MLAs which are paid much, much higher than what our state is getting. So even by benchmark, even by the natural standards, see, I mean, why do you have to look everything with suspicion and cynicism?
But Mr.
Whenever any politician
Sudhindra,
gets something,
since you
everything is
deal-
viewed in a suspicious way.
Yes.
That is not the kind
Let
of thing.
me make a quick
They
point.
also have cost to cover. They
Mr.
also have
Sudhindra,
family.
since
They
you
also have
also
expenses.
understand
They also have
industry,
constancy
we have
cost.
seen multiple. Okay, sir, we have seen multiple reports, industry reports suggesting that even big companies like Infosys might not either give a hike or the hike would be in single digit. When common people are suffering this way, is it okay for MLAs and ministers to draft a law themselves and pass it themselves and say, okay, we are taking a 50% hike?
Let us not compare apples with oranges, Harish. See,
What is
if you
apples with
see, if you
oranges
look
in
at
this?
that, if you go by your own,
You're not able to hear.
take, then they get a lot of other
Leo.
things also. Every year they get a hike, they get a bonus, they get some kind of another motivational thing. See, this is not a direct agenda, and this is not a state-driven. If you see this point, if you compare the MLA salary with any corporate, that is not state driven. It is not Karnataka specific. That's a system across India. No, what you are trying to say is something for
Okay.
the entire country to change. That is how it is since 1947, since the way our
Okay.
systems began.
I'll come to that point.
So
a
why
little
do you
later
have
in
to
the debate.
pinpoint a
I'll
single
quickly bring in
government
Mr.
when they have
Ramakrishna
given this? This
Upadhyay.
is not the first time happening, or this is
No,
the way
I'll
it
tell
has
you why.
been.
Mr. Ramakrishna Upadhyay, how does this appear for a common citizen, sir, who is now, he's seen a huge hole in his pocket because of all these hikes that have happened, and then he sees the MLAs, ministers, and various other functionaries will get a 50% hike?
Harish, the Congress spokesperson, is trying to justify it, saying that all parties have agreed. All leaders of all parties have agreed on this. Increasingly, people are looking at politicians or shameless people. People have no shame in what they're doing because in what they're saying. So this is a class, which is they think they are apart. And what is their qualification to be, politicians or being in the public life? Nothing. In every other profession, you need a qualification. Here, you don't need any qualification. And then whatever salaries you get depends on what you're contributing or what your qualification is. Here, nothing is required. And then, top of all this, they decide on their own salaries and perks. I mean, this is the strangest thing that one can see. But unfortunately, this is a situation across the country and even in Parliament. 2015, after the Modi government came to power, they tried to set up a panel of eminent persons to fix the emoluments, but that has not made any progress since then. Obviously, there is some pressure from other MPs as well. The BJP's own MPs and other party MPs. So it is high time that whether it's in Parliament or the state legislatures, you have an independent body which takes a decision on these things. It is not
Yes.
something that they should be deciding themselves. I mean, it's a bizarre situation where you decide on how much you take yourself home.
Absolutely. It's a case of judge and jury. GS Prashant, the allegation against the BJP and even the JDS to a large extent is they're going soft on this. Within the BAC meeting, the Business Advisory Committee meeting, there was no opposition to this. Even outside today, we haven't heard any major protest or even a strong statement from your party president or LOP or anybody.
Harish, I'll tell you, it will pass without any debate. Without any
Harish,
debate.
you look at it this way. What happened to the Greater Bangalore bill? So the government is behind these things. They want, and other legislation also they passed certainly. They wanted the Muslim reservation, they have passed it. They really don't want, they're not bothered as to whether BJP objects or not. Now look at the priorities of this government in bringing this at this bill at this juncture when the session is ending tomorrow. Look at the timing of this. Has it been even put to discussion? Why do they need from 75,000 to 1,50,000? On what basis? If the inflation is growing at 5%, 6%, they're increasing, they're doubling the salaries, which means without even giving a breakup and breakdown as to why this necessitates from 75,000 to 1,50,000 and 60 to 1,25,000. They're doubling the salaries. There needs to be a statement of objects and reasons. That's the least that they have to give out with facts and figures, numbers. Let it be given to the public at large saying this is why we are increasing our own salaries. Like the government employees get dearness allowance increase when the inflation goes up and depending on periodic review. The government should have done that. Instead, they don't want to do that. They want to fix the salaries. And without discussion, now it will pass through because they'll introduce it either today evening or probably tomorrow, means the last day of the session. So the priorities of the government are elsewhere. You have revenue deficit in two years. The borrowings are at all-time high. Current year also, he is slated to borrow 1,16,000 crores. And including this, 1,16,000 crores, the borrowing by Sidramaya in the previous 7 years as CM, that is 2013 to 2018, plus the last 2 years, and now 25-26, if you include all 8 terms that he has presented in the budget in his capacity as CM and Finance Minister, his borrowing would have crossed 4 lakh crores by Sidramaya alone.
2022, you
So
had
this
a salary
indicates that
hike.
he is borrong.
Mr. Sudhindra,
I'm
there
sorry.
was a salary hike
Mr.
You have
Prashant
a
was
taking
spending
into
budget
account
to cater
just
to
in
that
case
particular
if I
section
want to
and the
respond
vote
something
bank.
to him.
They want to
I
increase the
don't
taxes
know.
on the
I
common
can
man.
hear you and the
The
other
common
person.
man taxes
Prashant, I'll
will
come
go
to you.
towards their vote bank politics. And here they give a rise for salary to
Prashant, I'll
themselves.
come to you.
This is, I don't think,
Mr. Sudhindra, coming
hypocrisy,
to you.
hypocrisy
2022,
has
there
got
was
a
a
different
salary
meaning.
hike.
I think
Even
this
if
will
you
be
say
Congress.
there was 7% inflation, over 3 years, it should have been ideally 14-21% of salary hike. Even if you say for the next 2 years, you take it into account, it should be 30-odd%. What is
Exactly.
50-55% salary hike, Mr. Sudhindra? And shouldn't, what I do know is that Mr. Bellad in the BAC suggested that this government form an independent panel. He's on record saying that. Why didn't the government consider it?
See, broadly, it was the decision of the entire BSc. Mr. Bellad may have said this, but on record, if you are
Not
saying
able
you
to
said
hear.
it on record, he may have said so. But then, broadly, the BSc has agreed to this. So that is a proposal which is sent by the BSc, maybe in majority or something. But see, coming back to the percentage again, see, the last percentage was 3 years back, and I'm on record. I'm saying this. You can check the facts. We are still lesser than 16 to 17 states in India, as far as the average salary of everybody goes. So then what is the problem if we were to match up to others, or see, costs have definitely increased, and MLAs, let me tell you, the way they work, even if it is for a corporator or any gram panchayat member or something, they have a lot of other costs to cover. See, we cannot, let us not get into a mode where everything politicians do is wrong or to be seen in a suspicious manner. Like, instead, let them come up with something like they oath for accountability or something.
The question is, can they decide it? But
Karnataka is not the only state which is guilty of this, Harish.
So arbitrary.
Harish, Karnataka is not the only state which is guilty of this. This is a system everywhere. Unfortunately, that is how our India, the constitution gives the right for them to do so.
Why don't you set a good example?
No.
But at the same
that is not,
where
I'm sorry, I'm again trying to say, Karnataka is not the only
why
state
not on this?
So why don't you set a good example by setting up an independent committee and give a direction to the other
Set an
states?
example, reform this whole structure.
The Business Advisory Council serves as a committee for this exact purpose. I mean, that they were mandated. They were mandated and they have given us the... I mean, again, why you want to set up an independent Business Advisory Committee is exactly for this very purpose.
Congress workers, they appointed Congress workers to the guarantee implementation scheme committees.
Again, I'm sorry, sir.
Government.
Sir, I'm very sorry. That is a different topic. Every government, let me tell you. Why are you raising this question now?
This is nothing.
Why are you raising this question now? See, earlier there were Bagar Hukum committees, there were Senate members, there were Ashraya committees. So many committees in the past which have
Let's not digress.
That's altogether a different issue. Don't bring it here.
Okay, let's not digress.
Minister Zamir gets
Harish, I want to
for his
make a point
community
here.
at the cost of
Okay,
every
we are
other
digressing
citizen
here.
of Karnataka.
Mr. Ramkrishna
This is what's
Padya.
happening.
Mr. Ramakrishna
This is what's happening.
Upadhyay, what will it take for this to be reformed? Because one thing is very clear, whether it's Basuraj Bommai government in 2022 or Mr. Siddaramaya's government now, they are all pretty much on the same plate. Perhaps just for public consumption, they might give different statements, but none of them seem to be in a mood to change or reform the system.
Hello. Harish, I think
Yes, Mr.
the
Ramakrishna
Congress spokesperson seems to believe that just because the Business Advisory Committee has advised us, they can go ahead. What is Business Advisory Committee? It consists of the MLAs and ministers, the sitting people. They are themselves are deciding. So the point that all of us are making is that there should be an independent body which decides on these things. See, it's not that always politicians have been like this. We have an instance of a former chief minister, Mr. Kadidal Manjappa. I mean, he was there for less than 3 months. He went back to his legal practice after he stepped down as the chief minister. And he was such a simple man. He used to start taking up the cases in the High Court. He used to regularly go to the High Court. People used to, make fun of him, saying that, look, you were the chief minister and now you're back in your black coat. But he used to defend himself, saying that, look, I need a job. I need to earn money. So that kind of simple people we have seen. And in fact, he was even offered 1 acre of land in Palace Orchards by the then Maharaja as the governor of Karnataka at that time. But he declined, saying that I should not be taking the undue advantage of it. I mean, that is the caliber of politicians we have. Now, what is the caliber of politicians we have now? I think the Karnataka should set an example by having an independent body. Even now, it's not late. They have not yet passed the bill. Let them set up an independent body to decide on, how much of a hike should be given. You can't arbitrarily decide 50%, 55%. Does anybody get that kind of a hike? I mean, it's when people are suffering and the state doesn't have the funds even to meet the requirements of the state. You go on increasing without looking at all the aspects of it. I think it's totally unfair, and the politicians should decide that whether they're helping themselves or helping the state.
I will have
one of the excuses the ministers and MLAs give us. We get a lot of people from our constituencies, who come to our place, and we need to, treat them well at home and all that. That's fine, because they need to do that because they are in public life. But doesn't mean that you need to treat them lavishly. I mean, every ordinary person also gets some guests at home. But do we give them, gold biscuits? We give them Mari biscuits, not gold biscuits. We don't have Ramya Raos to, give us gold biscuits. So the politicians should realize that, they are in public life and people are watching them. So they need to be aware of the fact that they're in public life and people are watching and their money they're spending. So you have to be aware of, whose money you're taking.
Yes. Absolutely. Final word to Mr. Prashant and Mr. Sudhindra. Prashant, can we expect the BJP to take a different line and at least openly oppose this, saying we do not want a hike of this nature?
See, Harish, you look at the priorities of the government. Firstly, you should not have introduced the bill in the fag end of the session without any discussion and debate, without a statement of objection reasons saying, why are you seeking increase? They should not have done that. They have done that now. Now, irrespective of whatever the opposition does, it will become a law because they have the numbers in the House, 136 of them, the bill will be passed. Because when they have passed crucial legislation such as approving quota for Muslims in tenders, Greater Bangalore bill where BJP is opposed tooth and nail on principle, they don't bother. So forget, because this will become law because the ruling party will bring it up. But look at the priorities of the government. It is so highly misplaced because I repeat again, it is potholes for the common man, chopper rights for Siddaramaya, chopper rights for Siddaramaya. His MLAs get salary hikes.
This shedding of crocodile tears from my BJP friend is laughable because all of them have in unison agreed to what is happening here.
They have voted for them.
Now coming here on the national television and saying otherwise, this is absolutely laughable.
Without anything. For having supported Congress,
I'm absolutely out of time on this. Perhaps it's only the citizens of Bengaluru and citizens of Karnataka who are shedding tears and spending more every day for their living expenses. Thank you, Mr. Sudhindra, Mr. G.S. Prashant and Mr. Ramakrishna Upadhyay for joining us on the show. Well, that was the top story from Karnataka. Time for a quick roundup of all the other major stories from across South India.
politics over state-owned liquor shops Taskmark scam only intensified, with the BJP announcing that it would stage protests outside the Taskmark headquarters in Chennai. And before the protests began, leaders of the BJP from Annamalai to Tamilisai Soundararajan were all detained even before they arrived at the protest venue. The BJP, however, says that they will continue to intensify protests in connection with the liquor scam. Remember, ED had earlier released a press statement saying that there is a huge scam as far as Taskmark, which is a state-owned liquor shops, is concerned, and that's to the tune of 1,000 crore rupees. And the BJP says that they will continue to stage protests till the truth comes out. Heated arguments broke out in the State Assembly earlier this week between the AIADMK and the DMK, with the AIADMK General Secretary Edappadi Palanisamy raising concerns over the deteriorating law and order in Tamil Nadu, citing at least 4 murders that took place in the last 24 hours in the state. Meanwhile, the DMK said that action has been taken and they are ensuring that stringent punishment is given to the accused. But the AIADMK says that mere arrests are not enough. What are the preventive measures taken by the government, considering that there have been increasing crime rates in Tamil Nadu, for which they say that the DMK does not have an answer? They are not taking measures to prevent such crimes from happening, but only taking action post such horrific incidents.
During the stormy budget session in Karnataka, Bengaluru BJP MLA SR Vishwanath has made a controversial statement saying that many of the migrants were responsible for crimes in the city, and for asking police to shoot not just at their legs but a little above. The entire remark has caused a lot of controversy, with the Congress saying that this was not a democracy, this was not an autocracy but a democracy, and there was a constitution to take charge of the law and no such unconstitutional measures were required at all. Karnataka sees a new inhumane trend as several children are seen abandoning their elderly parents at government hospitals. The Karnataka government, in a bid to raise awareness, has said that the 2007 Parliament law, which can revoke gift deeds handed over to children from parents in case they abandon parents, must be brought into force, and that more awareness would be raised in this regard, as a inhuman and unfortunate trend seems to be the case across Karnataka. The Karnataka Assembly saw a stormy end as Minister K.N. Rajana made an explosive revelation on the floor of the House that there were honey trap attempts at him, and at least 48 politicians in the state had pendrive videos and CDs of obscene videos. Asking for a thorough probe to be carried out, the entire issue has caused much ruckus in the Assembly, as the BJP and JDS leaders say that this is not an issue just limited to ministers, but that all 224 MLAs would be affected by a rising cases of honey traps.
We've seen and read about enough about how Bangalore being a parched Bangalore, but there are innovative steps that are being made to start this conversation around water as well. Now the thing is in terms of the Kaveri Aarti. It's your baby, I'm told, and literally the fact that you're looking at bringing the Ganga Aarti to Bangalore, replicate it, and now you have a Kaveri Aarti. Can you tell us more details about this?
Yeah, because it's in the eve of March 21st, International World Water Day. We want to commemorate that event by launching a campaign to create an awareness about conserving water and water bodies. And we are also going to record through the Guinness World Record by launching world's largest pledge campaign and world's largest water aerator fixing campaign. These two campaigns are being launched. During this campaign launch, we thought we should involve some kind of traditional method to launch this campaign. When we thought about, then we thought it is our duty to pay the tribute to our river Kaveri Mata, and also it is a message for the community to come forward to protect their lakes and rivers. So we should start some traditional practices. Then we found that there is a religious practices being followed in Sankitang for the years long, and that is Gangamma Puja, and that the Gangamma temple is the ancient temple being located besides Sankitang. Then we thought this Gangamma Puja can be clubbed with Kaveri Mata Ganga Aarti. Then this concept has come in. Then Kaveri Mata Aarati, we can't do it simply, so we thought we will bring holy water from river Kaveri, Talakaveri, and then we will do the worship in Gangamma temple, then take the Kaveri water in the procession along with Gangamma Utsava Murti to the lake Kaveri Shanki tank, and there we do the puja and arati in the style of Ganga Arati, so that the people will get a narrative that the water is very holy and we have to protect it and preserve it.
ASHA workers are continuing their indefinite hunger strike in front of the State Secretariat. Their demands are that their honorarium should be increased from 7,000 to 21,000 and a retirement benefit of 5 lakh. Meanwhile, the state government says that being a central scheme, the guidelines need to be changed by the union government and that they will consider the demand of the ASHA workers. Meanwhile, the opposition UDF has given their support to the ASHA workers. The MLAs led by LOP VD Satishan has taken out a march in solidarity with the ASHA workers. About 35 people were bitten by a stray dog in a particular area in Kannur district. Elderly and children were at the receiving end of this attack. People who were standing in bus stops and even sitting in their courtyard were attacked by the dog. The people have been receiving treatment at the government hospital in Kannur. Kerala State Legislative Assembly has passed the Elderly Commission Bill. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said that Kerala is the first state in the country to pass a law establishing a commission for the elderly. The idea behind the commission is to protect the elderly and ensure their rights.
Well, that's all we could pack in this edition of Simply South. We'll be back next week with more stories from across South India. Thank you for watching.